What is up, everyone? Please take a second and hit that like button. The more likes that we get in a short period of time, the more people the algorithm will bring into the chat to come hang out with us and see what's going on. So please hit that like button, let me know how you're doing, and happy freedom. Oh, I forgot to post my thing on YouTube. I'll do that in a second. What's up, USA Forever? What's up, Mr. Mountain? It has been a while. What's up, USA Rasta? USA Rasta. What's up, Rasta? What's up, Debacales? What's up, Jason? What's up, Shanti? What's up, Mr. Dog? What's up, Red? What's up, Marv's Fan for Life? What's up, Houdini? Happy freedom, you hooligans. What's up, Lori? What's up, Mike Drop? What's up, Robert? What's up, GOP? GOB? I'm going to have a day. I can already tell. That's all right. What's up, Cool Guy? What's up, Jamie and Deborah? What's up, Snooks? Happy freedom. All right, let me read through the chats really quick. Well, I guess I got to drop this in the chat. Just a moment. Just give me a moment here. Alright, had to get the chat straightened out. What's up, Toy Mafia? What's up, Monkey Savant? What's up, Randy? Happy freedom. What's up, everyone on Twitch? What's up, everyone on Odyssey? Might have to refresh the page. I just had to refresh it to kick the live over. Happy Freedom Joe. Happy Freedom Rasta. You're everywhere, Rasta. What's up, everyone on Rumble? Everyone on Rumble. Happy Freedom Donna Sparks. Happy Freedom Anthony. Appreciate you guys being here. What's up, everyone on Facebook? Alright, hooligans. So quite a bit today, and then we're gonna end up with the press briefing. I think that's how this is gonna go. It depends if Kareen shows up for work or not. We're gonna be starting with a video discussing Elon Musk being sued over a 2018 tweet. Then we're gonna be covering an article that's talking about new calls for defunding the LAPD, which is interesting, and I've seen symptoms of this happening all over the country. Then we're gonna cover a hilarious liberal article talking about how they're bringing back, or potentially bringing back, bump stocks. Then we're going to cover an article talking about YouTube working on their swearing policy. We had talked about when they implemented it back in November, or they were talking about implementing it. Now they're having blowback. Then at 1:45, which is supposed to be in 10 minutes, but Kareen's always late, so I'm not worried about it. But that's when the White House press briefing is supposed to start. Then at 2:45, old man Walter is supposed to just bless us with his presence. We're not going to cover that live. I have somewhere I have to be. So most likely we'll be able to finish the press briefing. We'll do the pledge. We'll wrap things up. And then we'll be going live again at 7 p.m. Eastern time for a watch party to cover old man Walter. Let me see what he's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be, old man Walter welcomes the Golden State Warriors to the White House. So I imagine it won't be very long. It probably will be mildly entertaining, especially if I'm there. So we're going to be covering that at 7 p.m. Eastern time as a watch party tonight. That is the schedule. All right, hooligans, I think we're going to dash through this. I see the White House live is already on, which is pretty weird for them to do it this early. So we're going to dash through this. We're going to start off with this video. It's talking about Elon Musk The video title is messed up. It says to face trail, but they say he's facing trial. He's being sued over a 2018 tweet that reads, "Am considering taking Tesla private at $420. Funding secured." Now that's what the tweet said. Some investors feel that they were hurt by the tweet and think, well, I believe that they feel that the tweet itself affected the price of the stock, kind of in the same way stock manipulation happens. Stockholders are not supposed to be like, oh, go out there and buy this stock because, you know, it's unfair or whatever. So I believe that's what the case is going to be about. I didn't catch it, but we're going to watch a video. The video is about 4.5 minutes long. They should be able to fill in the blanks. So give me a second here. I'm going to read through the chat. Drop some ones if you got your coffee and you're ready to go. As soon as I read through it, we will get started. Houdini, White House is usually 20 minutes late. Nah, it's hard to say. They've been really late. I used to go early for the White House stuff. I'd go live early, and then we would sit here for 45 minutes or almost an hour. And it wasn't like it is now. I didn't have things prepared to talk about. So I would just be rambling for 45 minutes, just praying to God that Karine stepped on stage. And not even Karine, it goes all the way back to Jembal Saki. So I assume they'll be late. I shouldn't be talking. I'm always late to my own show, but, you know, I'm a hooligan. I don't know what their excuse is. What's up, Pamela? Thanks for being here. Seeing some ones and some coffees in the chat. No one on Rumble? What is going on? Rumble is the freest platform. It has no one on it. All right, hooligans. I'm seeing enough ones. Make sure you get those likes up, though. What is going on? Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Hit that like button. Boost this live. Let's get her started, hooligans.
So what are you doing today? Tesla CEO Elon Musk is heading to court after a federal judge rejected his request to delay a trial and move it to Texas. Tesla shareholders are suing Musk for potential financial harm caused by a tweet he posted in 2018 about potentially taking Tesla private at $420 per share, $420, notice that, but the deal never materialized. Here to react, the host of Varney and Company and American Built on Fox Business, Stuart Varney. Why 420?
Oh, you know why 420 has something to do with marijuana, I believe, right?
Okay.
No, this guy, he's just as weird as Elon is.
Because these people who are suing him said that his comments impacted their bottom line, and it sounded like he had the backing to take it private. He did not. Maybe he just didn't know the rules.
That's the background here.
Yeah.
What's really going on is the left wants to bring Musk down, and they see this San Francisco trial as an opportunity to do that. Remember, Musk took over Twitter. Twitter's home city is San Francisco. They hate him in San Francisco. He fired more than half of their employees, and he ended Twitter's left-wing bias. Can he get a fair trial?
I don't know. I see a lot of left-wing stuff still on Twitter.
Texas, the judge said,
like hardcore left-wing stuff. Like Edward. I don't know if you guys are friends with Edward, but he will send you terrible things from Twitter.
Musk goes out there and
terrible posts by liberals. I appreciate you, Edward. Half these articles came from him today.
$20 a share, you know, $420 marijuana. The money wasn't there. The deal fell through. Some shareholders felt that they had been hurt, and they are now suing. So they've got to. They're going to court. This jury selection starts today. Can they get a fair trial? Good question.
That is an excellent question in San Francisco. I get why he would want to move it to Texas.
Sure.
I wonder what the penalties would be, though. I'm sure they're just financial. I doubt he would actually go to jail.
But he's probably going to say, look, I thought I had the financing.
He's already paid a $40 million fine to the SEC. And the shareholders are now sitting on a stock that is 6 times more valuable than it was back in 2018 when he made this.
It's not as good as it was, though. Tesla stock was doing better than it is now. It's like half of what it used to be.
I really don't know. But whatever happens in this trial, whatever happens to Musk, you cannot take away his contribution to free speech through Twitter. You cannot take away his success at Tesla with electric vehicles. And you cannot take away Starlink which is changing warfare in Ukraine. That is Elon Musk.
I know you're concerned about whether or not he can get a fair trial in.
What's up, Can Killer? Thanks for being here.
He is a unique American businessman.
What's up, Lucci?
He's loved by the political right for making Twitter free and fair again. But he is also loved by the political left because of his electric vehicles.
Yes, he's a crazy maker. That's what he is. I think he's the most important and dynamic figure in American business today.
You guys think that Elon Musk will be president one day?
Politics and money. There's nary a day goes by.
Mr. Dog, do people just DM you and gilded with stories? Yeah, pretty much. I like it that way too, because then I have an idea that you guys actually want to hear about the information. I had my own little bit, and other hooligans send me stuff, and it's a good little potluck. We got information, I think.
Figure out, well, how do you moderate content? Because you've got to moderate it to some degree. By what value system do you moderate it? And how many...
Seeing a lot of no's.
How much are they paying? How much money are you losing?
Nope, you don't think Elon will run the country one day? I don't know.
That used to be at Twitter. Good.
You think he'll get schwacked first?
Televised.
Oh, well, that's a good question. I don't have an answer for you. At this point,
Ooh, put a 1 in the chat if you want to watch Elon at trial if it is televised.
You got to see it. Put it on TV. Get the ratings up.
If not, I'm sure he's going to tweet it.
Yes.
All right.
Guaranteed.
Stuart, thank you very much. Make sure you watch Stuart. He's in an hour and 15 minutes. He's going to be over on Fox Business. And
Oh, I see you guys saying WEF or whatever. I know what it is. I just don't know how to say the phrase if that's not it. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, he's pretty much an elite himself. He just has a really good mask. He's charming and interesting and whatnot. So they flock to him, but he's definitely a part of the elite. The majority of his money, from what I understand, comes through government grants and stuff like that. So his paychecks are coming from the government. He's probably going to comply, right? All right, moving forward. I do have the White House press briefing pulled up, so don't worry about that. We're going to be there on time, and if I feel so, we'll just pause it, and they can wait for us. Next, we're going to be talking about the death of a DC teacher renews calls for defunding LAPD. I'm going to be posting this article in the chat so you guys can follow along with me. Thank you, Lucci. I appreciate you. Anthony, if Elon was born outside the U.S., that's a no. Oh, yeah, he's like from South Africa or something, isn't he? Pretty sure you can't be president if you ain't from here. Is that how that works? Happy Freedom Sam, thanks for being here. Alright, so the link that I just posted in all the chats should take you to this page. I don't know about that Japanese article or Chinese or whatever that is. I'm thinking it's Chinese. Either way, I don't know about all that. So the article says, the death of a DC teacher renews calls for defunding LAPD. On January 3rd, Los Angeles police officers killed a 31-year-old man, well, it doesn't say man, so I guess I should watch myself, but a individual named Keenan Anderson. He was a Washington, D.C. high school English teacher. He was in L.A. visiting his family. He went into cardiac arrest after being repeatedly tased by police responding to a traffic incident. It mentions later in the article, way down deep in the article, that Anderson is the cousin of BLM co-founder, I don't know, Patricia maybe? Patrice Cullors, I believe. They say that the body cam footage In the body cam footage, he can be heard saying, "They're trying to George Floyd me." His death has renewed the calls to defund the LAPD, which is a common target because of their large budget and spending that has been under public scrutiny multiple times. Then the article says, oh, wait a minute, I think I've got cross information. So let me read through this. This is for the other article, the liberal article. Yes. So that's pretty much it for that article. I haven't found the body cam footage. If I do find the body cam footage and it's too graphic for YouTube, I will put it up on Odyssey, and then everyone can go watch the body cam footage and of course make decisions and opinions on their own. I don't like to tell people what to think or anything like that unless I think it's absolutely good for you, and even then I'm not telling you what to think, I'm just suggesting good advice. So the link that I gave you should take you to this article. There's lots more to read, but that's kind of the meat and potatoes of the article right there. We will be monitoring this kind of stuff. Like I said, Antifa's been getting more active every day. There is some lives popping up showing Antifa, nothing too extreme. If there is something extreme shown, we probably will show it, but it will be on the alternative platforms. I can't show, so right now there's a live streamer out there who is covering almost everyday footage of Antifa, and I can't cover it because we had a discussion between each other and I'm not supposed to cover his stuff. So I won't, because I don't want to give him half of my income for every live that I do, because I don't think that's fair. So I can't cover his stuff, and until other live streamers join him out at these events, we're not going to be covering that. And if it is extremely important to watch, we will cover it. It just won't be on YouTube where this person can go after me. So that's that on that kind of topic. But like I said, I am seeing this kind of grow and grow, not on live so much, but I am seeing captured footage across the country where they're kind of trying to reactivate. I don't know that they will, but things are definitely stirring up. It started with those drag shows, and now it's just kind of bleeding over into other things at this point. So moving forward, I'm gonna read through the chat here in a second and fix my book report here. I don't know what happened. I got information all over the place. It looks like the press briefing starting. Maybe we'll do the press briefing and then we'll do the article. I don't know. We might be able to make it through the article fast enough. So we're going to read through the article. If the press briefing starts, we'll just pause it and we'll just watch the whole thing in its entirety. First, I'm going to send you a link to this article right here. It talks about bump stocks. Alright, hooligans, so the link I just posted in all the chats should take you to this article talking about bringing back bump stocks. It's worth reading through this article because the person that wrote this has to be a comedian. It was just the best. Everything is worded so scared, so frail, so weak. It's so good to read through. I've quoted a lot of stuff so you can hear exactly how they word things. It's more humorous than anything, and the information itself is pretty much good news. So I think it's worth reading through. So the article hilariously starts off by saying, and this is how it's wrote: the conservative judges who now occupy large swaths of federal jurisdiction are pro-gun extremists, and they're so deep in the thrall of gun lobby that their anti-regulatory opinions are now incompatible with mainstream American views on gun safety. You like that? You like that? That's how this whole article is wrote, and it is something to behold. So then it goes on to say, the proof of that has came this week with the hyper-conservative U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit threw out a Trump-era gun safety rule, mentioning that anti-machine gun bill in 2019. Trump ATF updated its rules classify extensions that make semi-automatic rifles perform like machine guns as machine guns. Then it goes on to say, in any civilized society. Oh, I guess that's how it's phrased. So then the article goes on to say, again, this is how they word it: gun nuts argued that bump stocks do not fall within the statutory definition of machine gun, and claimed that the ATF could therefore not tread on their sacred constitutional rights. Yeah. I don't know why that's so hard to follow. I just make punching people in the face great again. Then the article refers to the individuals mentioned, right, these judges, as amphibious force trying to secure a, I don't know what that word is, beachhead or a deer or whatever these amosexuals feel they need to murder next. That's I'm telling you, it is worth reading through the article. It is so good. It then mentions, because of the disagreement among the courts of appeal, that the bump stock case will likely go to the Supreme Court, where 6 of the most zealous gun nuts in the country will likely strike down the bump stock ban and enable additional mass shootings. Then saying near the end that the Supreme Court will eventually, most likely, rule in the favor of death, meaning that none of our rights are being trampled on. My goodness, it's forwards and backwards and up and down, and it is super entertaining, I thought, to read that. I have no idea how scared the person is that wrote that, but good stuff. That is some creative writing right there. English teachers should be just so proud of whoever taught this young student. Look at everybody in the chat. What? F those people. You hooligans crack me up. Is that not the most ridiculous article that we've ever read out loud? Alright, so I think we're going to get started with the press briefing. Pretty sure that's a basketball player on there, and I mean that literally. So we're going to go to the press briefing. I don't think it's going to be the end of the show, though. We are going to rewind it to catch it from the beginning. We're just a minute or so late. I had to get that article out there. Let everybody know the bump stocks are probably coming back. Alright, so we're going to cover the press briefing, and then if we have time, we're going to talk about YouTube's new policy change to swearing. We already talked about how they were implementing it. Now they're getting blowback. We're going to talk about that. But first, we're going to cover this live press briefing. As I said, we're a little bit late. I'm going to rewind it so it won't be technically completely live, but it is going on right this moment. So let me get this wrapped up here. Alright, you beautiful hooligans, press that 1 in the chat. Let me know that you are ready to go. Cool guy, YouTube's too sensitive. I'm saying, real sensitive. The amosexual thing, I kind of like it. I kind of like it. Because now I have something to put in the box, you know, when you get a new profile account on social media and they're like, what's your titles? Amosexual. Ka-ching, just put it right in there. All right, I'm seeing the ones. Let's get her started. Rack those likes up. More likes, more hooligans, just like Kyle said. What's up, Edward?
Wow. Such a quiet day, nothing going on here. Come on, guys. There. Please, right here. Yeah, please flank me. I love it.
That's right, Trigger.
Good afternoon, everybody. Come on, there's a lot of people here. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, so as you can all see, we have a couple of special guests here today in the briefing room.
I'm here every day, Corrine. You don't have to butter me up like that. The hooligans know that I'm here.
Head coach of the Golden State Warriors and 9-time NBA champion as both a coach and a player, and Steph Curry.
Rasta, Salty has homosexual shirts. That's awesome. That's so awesome.
NBA most valuable player. Coach Kerr and Steph will say a few words about their visit to D.C. today and an issue that's close to their hearts. And so I'm going to let them take over. But, you know, I almost went pro. But, you know, being 5'2", 5'3", didn't make it happen. But there's this great video of me and Sue Bird, an amazing icon in the WNBA. You should check that out. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys take over.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having us today. On behalf of the Warriors, I want to thank President Biden and Vice President Harris for the invitation to come to the White House today to celebrate our championship from a year ago. It's a great
What's up, Adam?
to be Americans, to live in a country where we can chase our dreams. I go to take part in a roundtable on gun violence and gun safety with some senior White House staffers, along with Klay Thompson.
The right-wing gun nuts we were just talking about?
The last hour or so, we learned a lot about what this administration is doing to help create a safer environment in our country, something that's very close to my heart, and it's wonderful for me to learn a lot more than I knew. So coming in today is it's a great day on many fronts. So thanks for the invitation, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Curry.
Thanks, Coach. Echo what he said. I want to thank President Biden and Vice President Harris for the invitation to come here. It's something that we don't ever take for granted. 7 years ago, I believe, we were here last celebrating our first championship, and now back to celebrate our fourth. So to have this opportunity to reflect on the accomplishment last year, to bring everybody together to celebrate that, to also acknowledge the play sports has and bringing people together from all walks of life, all backgrounds, to provide inspiration, hope, love, togetherness, and that's what our journey was last year. So to have another opportunity to celebrate that means a lot, and a great opportunity for us from the basketball community to thank President Biden and his staff for all their hard work and diligence on getting Brittany Griner home. Was a big part of our basketball family, and it means a lot to know that she's here and home safe with her family, and all the work that went on behind the scenes to make that a reality. So I just want to say thank you there, and very excited to be here and celebrate the day, celebrate with our families, and appreciate the invitation. This is truly, truly special, so thank you to everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
No questions, Lorraine?
It's up to them. No, they as you can imagine, they have a tight schedule. I think they're on their way to meet with the president right now, and then, as you know, some of you will get to see the two of them and the rest of the team at the event that we're having for the Warriors in about an hour, or less than an hour. Okay, folks. Thank you so much for joining us today, and it was great to hear from two people who have really been passionate voices on the issue that you heard them talk about, which was gun violence prevention. And we really, really are thankful to them for using their platform, their very, very big platform, to talk about an issue that is truly, as you all know and report, that is destroying many families across the country, many communities, and as you know, that the president has worked and been a leader on for many decades. And the bipartisan gun prevention bill that was signed this summer Farmer just showed the president's commitment to this issue. And as you all know, it continues. It doesn't stop with that legislation. On Friday, it was reported that Republicans have so-called plan to prioritize payments if Congress fails to address the debt ceiling. So I want to be very, very clear here, as I have been, as the president has been. This is not a plan. It is a recipe for economic catastrophe. As President Biden has made clear, Congress must deal with the debt limit and must do so without condition.
What about those classified documents, though, Karine?
Threatening to hold
She's going to fall apart if they ask about that stuff.
a mandate of the Constitution hostage to their demands to cut Social Security, to cut Medicare, and to cut Medicaid. Brings
A mandate to the wait a minute.
economy.
To the Constitution. What does that mean?
Paying its bills, the United States should make payment to wealthy bondholders, including foreign investors, and stop payments for border security, food safety, nursing homes, school lunches, the FAA, drug enforcement, and other programs Americans rely on every single day. This so-called prioritization scheme makes Republicans' priorities pretty clear, crystal clear, if I may add. They want to put wealthy bondholders over ordinary Americans who want safe food, safe skies, safe communities, and secure borders. And it does nothing, absolutely nothing to change the fact that failing to deal with the debt limit would cause economic catastrophe. Bipartisan former Treasury secretaries and independent experts have called out how dangerous failing to raise the debt ceiling would be. And for example, I'll give you a couple. The Chamber of Commerce said it would have catastrophic economic consequences, end quote.
Everything they're worried about is catastrophic.
Tim Geithner called it unworkable.
Remember, they were talking about hearing aids for like a week straight. And if we didn't have them, it'd be catastrophic.
Marco Rubio and Mitt Romney called it really bad idea and, I quote, disaster. This is just a
really bad idea.
To force unpopular cuts on programs critical to seniors, the middle class, and working families. Congress needs to act and do so swiftly. There is no excuse for political brinksmanship when American jobs and economic safety is on the line here. I also wanted to highlight that this morning the White House released the first ever national strategy to advance equity, justice, and opportunity for Asian Americans, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities. The strategy details much needed investment from 32 federal agencies, including improved data, language access, and combating anti-Asian hate. This unprecedented plan builds on the administration's broader equity agenda and President Biden's historic executive order to establish and reinvigorate the White House initiative on AA and NHPIs. And we're proud that the Biden-Harris
AA is for quitters.
University of America, including the first Asian American vice president, 14% of our appointees and nominees identify as AA and NHPI, double the share of the population. You can read the full strategy and more about the initiative on the whitehouse.gov. And finally, this morning, as some of you have already either covered or wrote about, Census Bureau released data that showed that President Biden's first 2 years in office have been the two greatest years for new small business applications on record, with 10.5 million total new business created, with unemployment at a record low, and the two strongest years of job creation in our history. There are reasons for economic optimism all over the country. Today's new data is the latest confirmation that President Biden's economic plan is indeed working and is building our economy from the bottom up and the middle out. Zeke, you want to take it?
Thanks, Karine. Just, two questions for you. I think to start off with. Over the weekend, the British government confirmed it was sending tanks to Ukraine for the first time. Will the U.S. follow suit and meet Ukraine's request there? And then separately, Prime Minister Rutte had in the meeting in the Oval Office a few minutes ago. Very end, he alluded to potentially joining the U.S. and Germany and sending a Patriot missile system to Ukraine. Can you confirm that that was the announcement that's coming out of the meeting? We haven't gotten a readout yet.
Okay, so we're going to have a readout very, very shortly. So once we have that, I will share that with all. We will share the team.
Thank you so much, David, for continuing the membership program. You're officially a hooligan. I appreciate you. Thank you.
In Ukraine and the importance of all the ongoing security assistance, but I would refer to Dutch for any specifics about their own plans as it relates to that specifically. As it relates to the conversation on, I'm sorry, I forgot the first question. So, look, we are always very, very careful on what our, we don't like to tell our allies what they should or should not do. But as you know,
She needs to do the chicken bacon exercise.
comes to Ukraine, partners with our allies and partners with them on how we are continuing to provide assistance to Ukraine in this aggressive war that we have seen, this brutal war that we continue to see by Russia. But certainly that is not something that we will direct. We will continue to focus. We have been the country that has provided the most assistance, as you all know, when it comes to security assistance, when it comes to humanitarian aid, and we are in constant conversations with Ukraine on what their needs are, and so we're going to continue to do that alongside our partners and also our allies.
This is now an area where the UK is going to be ahead of the US sending Western tanks to Ukraine, because they're going ahead with sending more than a dozen of them in the coming weeks and months. The White House still hasn't approved that. So is that in the offing now for the U.S. to sort of leapfrog ahead back into the lead in providing assistance for Ukraine?
Again, look.
The compliance clause kill me. Happy Freedom IB4. Thanks for being here. What's up, native New Yorker? God bless you.
In any other country, the president, when he walked into the administration, he made sure that he brought the NATO together, he brought our alliance and partners together.
That's what all those executive orders were on the first day.
Ukrainian people.
It's not how I remember it.
We're going to continue to do. Certainly, I'm not going to get ahead of any announcements from here. But again, this is, we will.
It's going to be interesting when we get our third press secretary and we're still using Jen Balsaki's sound.
Against the brutality that we are seeing.
What's up, Christy? Thanks for being here.
Different topic. Regarding the discovery of classified and official documents at the president's residence and former office. Last week, you told, I believe it was Phil, that we all can assume, the American people could assume that the searches were complete and all the documents had been recovered. On Saturday, the White House counsel's office said that 5 additional classified documents had been found. Is it safe to assume now that all the documents have been recovered, all the official records, all the classified documents are back in the custody of the National Archives, or are more searches underway to find out if there's anything else there?
Look, I understand your question. We have addressed multiple questions from here. Multiple questions have been answered.
Yeah, but you're always wrong, Karine.
I just spent about, some of your colleagues, maybe you yourself, Zeke, was on the phone with my colleague for about 45 minutes that addressed a lot of your questions. I'm just going to continue to be prudent here. I'm going to let this ongoing review that is happening, this legal process that is happening, and let that process continue under the special counsel. I'm not going to comment from here. I'm not
hiding things. Thank you so much, IB4, for gifting 10 subs or 10 memberships over on YouTube. I appreciate you, IB4. Thank you so much. If you hooligans are picking up those memberships, they are not free, so make sure you thank IB4.
And that continues with this legal issue. And so I would refer you to the Department of Justice, refer you to the special counsel as it relates to specifics on this issue. And also my White House counsel colleagues are engaging with all of you and will certainly continue to have conversations.
Like everyone's saying in the chat, where's the raids?
We are consistent with what we have said on cooperating fully.
That's it.
On this issue, and we will continue to cooperate fully with the special counsel.
Falling apart.
You stood here, though, and were asked about this documents issued by our account some 18 times. At that point, the president's lawyers had found these 5 additional pages of classified documents. So did you not know on Friday that those documents had been found when you were at the podium, or
call her out?
By someone to not be forthcoming on this issue?
I have been forthcoming from this podium. What I said yes to was what the statement at the time that we all had, right? You all had the statement, and I was repeating what the.
She's just doing what she's told.
him. And so
We had that statement, so we knew what was in it, but you also
Exactly.
knew, did you not know that the other
I'm telling you,
documents had
I
been
just
found?
answered the question. I just said that I was repeating what the information that we had at that time, right, that you all had. I was confirming from what the special counsel had provided to all of you and that we knew as well from here. So just to be very, very clear. And look, I've also been very clear about being prudent from here. I was also being very clear about being consistent.
So clear. So clear. You got to answer the same questions every day.
What is currently happening, right? And again, this is an ongoing, I also said this was an ongoing review that was happening with the Department of Justice, and as we know with the special counsel, I've been very consistent about that as well. And that's one of the reasons, your question to me is one of the reasons why we are being very,
It's one of the reasons you cry at night.
and to not interfere here, and to make sure that the Department of Justice has their independence. Your question actually proves that, and that's why we're going to continue to refer you to Department of Justice and refer you to the special counsel or my colleagues
Is the president
at White House Counsel.
Does President Biden have confidence in the way his team is handling this with this trickle out of information and the documents being found day after day?
I can tell you this, the president has confidence. I can tell you this, that the president
She's upset.
rightfully took action when they learned that the documents existed. They reached out to the archives. They reached out to the Department of Justice.
After the documents existed in the house for over 6 years.
Process that we took here, and look, we're going to continue. We're going to continue to, as we have said, fully cooperate with the Department of Justice. We're going to fully cooperate with the president's team is going to fully cooperate with the special counsel. That does not stop, and that will just continue. Again, we are going to respect the independence of the Department of
Could you
Justice.
describe his mood to us and the conversations you've had with him on this issue?
His mood has been very clear. I saw him this morning. He's very focused. I traveled with him this weekend. He wants to make sure that he's continuing, and we are continuing to deliver for the American people. And we've been pretty consistent on that. If you think about last week, you heard from him about how his economic plan is working, how we have seen inflation go down for 6 months straight, how we have seen unemployment numbers at its lowest level in 50 years. That matters. That is also.
They could shut down the unemployment system and they would still be here at the press briefing being like, we don't have anyone on unemployment. Where's my pat on the back? Like, they're just so, it's word wizardry going on.
Where the Russians bombed an apartment building and killed dozens of civilians.
So, look, this weekend strikes are another example, as you've heard us say, of the brutal and barbaric war that Russia is waging against the Ukrainian people. And we have seen this over and over again for about 10 months now, almost 11 months now. The United States will continue to provide, as I said at the top, Ukraine with what it needs to defend itself. That is incredibly important. That is a promise that the president made to President Zelensky when he was here not too long ago. And that's including air defense system. Along with our allies and partners, as I just said, we will continue our work to hold Russians forces accountable for the atrocities that they've caused and also the war crimes. But one of the things that we continue to see Russia do is that they underestimate the strength and the courage and the resolve of the Ukrainian people, and they will be proven wrong again in their latest attempts.
And the debt ceiling is supposed to reach its ceiling on Thursday. How do you see the debt ceiling fight playing out? What's your strategy for getting an agreement?
So look, we have been very clear on this, and I said it at the top, I said it on Friday, and I'll say it today, so has the president. This should not be political brinksmanship. We should be dealing with the debt ceiling without conditions. It is important. We're not going to work our way around this. We're not going to negotiate on this. This is the basic duties of Congress, is to deal with this issue. And let's not forget, in the last administration, they, meaning Democrats and Republicans, were able to deal with the debt limit 3 times. 3 times. So this is something that needs to be done, that should be done, and we call on Congress to act.
Lastly, is the president going to sit down with Republicans and talk about this?
Again, this is something that should be done without conditions. We have been very, very clear about that. We are not going to be negotiating over the debt ceiling, but I'll say this more broadly. At the start of the new Congress, and I actually spoke about this last week, we're reaching out to all members in both parties to build relationships and establish points of contact. That is something that the Office of Leg Affairs has done for the past couple of weeks. But, you know, this has been done, when you talk about the debt ceiling, it has been done in a bipartisan way, and there should be bipartisan cooperation to address this. It should not be a political football. This should not be a political football, and we should do it without conditions. Go ahead, Phil, and I'll come to the back.
The president and his team had a pretty clear strategy, list of goals heading into this year. Is there any concern that that may be kind of overtaken by what's been happening over the course of the last week with the investigation?
I mean, I just talked about last week.
For some reason, they didn't want to show that reporter. I'm pretty sure it's Johnny Bravo, though.
And it's showing that inflation is indeed going down because of the president's economic policy. We have seen the president do bipartisan work, bring both sides together. When you think about going to the bridge in Kentucky, and you saw that for yourselves. How the president was able to bring both sides together to talk about an issue that was so important for that region in Kentucky, to talk about infrastructure, something that many presidents before this president had tried to do and were not able to do it. In the last administration, it was a punchline. It was a joke when we talked about Infrastructure Week. And now under this president, we've been able to do it in a bipartisan way. Look, we're going to continue to do the work. We're going to have mayors here in a couple of days. We'll share more information about that event, and the president will talk to them about the work that we are doing and the work that we're going to continue for the American people. We went to Mexico City just about a week ago. We were in Mexico City, feels like 2 weeks ago, but yes, we were in Mexico City about a week ago. And you saw the president on the world stage talking to our closest partners in North America.
We saw him get questioned about classified documents as the very first question of that whole ceremony that took place in Mexico City. But nah, don't talk about that, Karine.
That's not going to stop the president. He is very much focused on what are we going to do to lower cost? What are we going to do to continue to lower costs? What are we going to do to continue to deliver for the American people? And let me add, too, what Republicans are putting forward. House Republicans, the extreme members of the House, the MAGA Republicans, are talking about raising taxes for middle-class Americans. They're talking about giving a tax break for the wealthiest among us. That's what they want.
When you have government referring to other parts of the government as extreme, we're not in a good place.
Is going to speak against that as well and try to make sure that we deliver for the American people. We can do both.
We assume the president weighed in on the issue a couple of times last week, but given the limitations, given what you've talked about from the podium, that we shouldn't expect the president to give his thoughts or opinions on the ongoing investigation.
It is, and you just said it's an ongoing matter, right? This is an ongoing legal process that's happening currently, and we are going to continue what we've been doing for the last 2 years, which is when it
lying,
justice, when it comes to legal,
crying,
we will not comment.
Free crack pipes.
Here, we are not going to politically interfere, because one of the things that the president was very clear during the campaign and has been for the last 2 years is that we want to give back the independence that the Department of Justice has. Go ahead, Peter, and then I'll come to that.
Just to follow up, if I can, very quickly on this. The White House says Republicans are faking outrage on this issue. Why shouldn't Americans be outraged about classified documents being found in a garage?
Look, and I think I've been very clear about this.
You haven't. You really haven't, Karine.
At this podium, you've heard, as Phil was saying, twice from the president talk about this. He said that he didn't know, right? He said that he was surprised, and he said that he takes classified information and documents very, very seriously. We heard directly from the president on this issue. Now, anything else, anything beyond that, we're just not going to talk about. There's an investigation going on. There's a legal process here, as we've been very, very clear about. I will let the White House counsel talk about any specific details about that, but we're going to be prudent here and make sure that we are not.
Every time she says prudent, you gotta take a shot of coffee.
You don't want to interfere here and be prudent about the process, but the White House did post a statement saying that Republicans are faking outrage. So to that point, why shouldn't Americans be upset about documents found in a garage?
That's for the American people to decide, right? That is for you all, or I'm sure going to talk to many folks out there.
It's for us to decide if we're outraged. You stupid. It's up to us if we feel outraged. It's not up to the media. Do you hear this?
They also care about the economy, right? They also care about what is the president doing to lower.
No, you're a liar. Sam, I believe even the Dems want to get rid of old man Walter now. That's what it seems like. It seems like all this information is trickling out in a specific order that is strategic.
Think about the Inflation Reduction Act. That's going to lower prescription drug costs, lower medical costs, right? When you think about that, lower energy costs. So that's going to be our focus here. We know that's what the American people truly care about as well, and it is very important for them that we do that work. I'm going to try and go to the back. Go ahead. Okay. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Corinne. Just back on the tanks. It seems that everybody's talking about tanks the last few days. In Europe, there's been a bunch of countries saying they don't want to give tanks, or people should give tanks, and then the Germans are being, on the fence about it. Everyone's talking about it. Nothing's actually happening, apart from the Brits, who of course are not part of the European Union. The president's positioned himself as the leader of this whole alliance, pretty much, right? Is this a moment when he feels maybe he should step in as the leader and either, cajole, or you probably wouldn't want to use that word, but talk to the Germans, or go with the U.S. tanks, the Abrams? Is something going to happen in shortly? Because this feels like a bit of a boiling point.
So a couple of things here, and the president's view hasn't changed, and I kind of said it when I was answering Zeke's question, which is he believes that it's up to each country to make their own sovereign decisions here on what types of security assistance and what kinds of equipment they're able to provide Ukraine as Ukraine defends itself against Russia's brutal aggression. For instance, we welcome Germany's recent announcement that they will send infantry fighting vehicles and Patriot missiles battery system to Ukraine. We also support the decision by the UK, as I was asked over the weekend, to send Challenger tanks to Ukraine. We welcome that. We have seen incredible solidarity by nations around the world to support Ukraine. And also, I know that Secretary Austin is hosting another meeting of the Ukrainian.
Happy for him, Jubilee Heart.
This Friday, this week, and we look forward to further discussions on how this.
165 people in the chat. Totally forgot to hit the like button. Hit the like button. Come on, hooligans. Let's boost the live. We still got 2 articles to read after this press briefing.
The Ukrainian people, but again, as I said at the top, it's up to each country to make their own decisions on this.
No Abrams.
Look, again, when it comes to these types of security assistance decision, it is up to each country to make that decision, and we leave it to them.
Very quick one on documents, if you don't mind. Sure. Given these documents have shown up in very personal spaces, we all know that the president loves his Delaware home. It's an extremely personal space for him. Is he physically joining in the search for these things, rummaging around these boxes in the garage and wherever else? I mean, literally.
Are you listening to the question that you're asking me? Look.
Sounds like a reasonable question to me. Happy for him, no mandates.
Very consistent here. I am going to be very clear here, as I have been.
Show us that clarity.
Now, dealing with this, we are.
She's about to get it sponsored by Windex.
Questions that you have about this issue, I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House counsel's office who spent taking these questions from all of you, many of your colleagues. I'm going to let you ask that question to the White House counsel's office, and anything else specific to this, I refer you to Department of Justice. I refer you to special counsel. Go ahead.
Thanks, Corinne. On Monday, in regards to police shootings, the president said, I think I did the only thing I can do. Is it the opinion of the White House that there will be no more progress on the issue of police reform going forward, that there's just nothing more to do?
Look, the president has been very clear in asking Congress to take action. He has taken executive action. I'm sure you've covered a lot of the actions that he's taken the past 2 years, and he believes it's now in the hands of Congress to take action, and it is important to do just that. And I will leave it there.
One more. Stephen Curry up on a first name basis now, apparently.
I know, buddies. You guys are buddies. They don't even let me call them Stephen Curry.
He mentioned the freeing of Brittany Griner, but does the White House have any comment on the detention of Siamak Namazi, who's in Iran and on hunger strike, and sent a letter to the president?
So we received the letter, and our thoughts are with Namazi and his family. We remain committed to securing his freedom, and the U.S. government is continuing to work to bring him home, along with U.S. citizens who are wrongfully detained in Iran, including Imad Shagri and Morad Tabaz. Iran's use of wrongful detention as political leverage is outrageous. The U.S. will always stand for our citizens overseas. We've been very clear about that and committed, and you've seen the president take action, and you've heard the president say that directly. One of our highest priorities is bringing all of our wrongfully detained citizens home safely as soon as possible and resolving the cases of missing and abducted U.S. citizens, so this will continue to be a priority for.
What about the Americans in Afghanistan? We'll just never talk about that ever again?
In New Mexico of a former Republican
Okay.
state house there who was allegedly organizing men to shoot at the homes of 4 Democratic elected officials.
Don't have a comment on that at this time. I heard the stories. I just need to check with the team to get the full rundown, but I don't have a comment at this time on that. Okay, Risha.
Thanks, Karine. I want to follow up on Cecilia's question, and sorry if I missed it, but on Friday, did you or did you not know about the additional 5 pages?
I literally just answered that.
Make her walk out.
So is it yes or no?
Well, I mean, you're not too far sitting next to her, so I was very clear. I provided the information that you all had at the time, and I confirmed. No, I did not know. I'm saying I had the information. I actually said this to Cecilia. I had the information that you all had at the time, right? And so this is why I also said to Cecilia, this is why we are trying to be very prudent here, and we're trying to be very consistent and say this is an ongoing legal process, and this is why I say we're just not going to comment from here.
She's so mad.
Cecilia's question, and I was very clear about that.
When did you learn about the documents found at the Penn Center in November and in Wilmington in December?
When your team was doing a story on it.
Got it.
Oh, yeah?
Asked a similar question.
She's so rude. There's no way I'd be getting bullied like that. Nah.
The White House counsel is handling. This is something that...
Make her quit. Keep it going. I want to hear more questions. Make her quit.
This is why we're being prudent here. This is why...
Take a drink.
With what we have done the last 2 years when it comes to DOJ, Department of Justice investigation, we are just not going to interfere.
Well, on that note, you've repeatedly emphasized the need, just as you did today, for independence, for integrity of the Department of Justice investigation. One reason why you continue to point us to the DOJ. So I wonder why then did the White House counsel go to Wilmington to facilitate the handing over of documents to the DOJ? How is that separate? How is that separating the White House from the DOJ?
And Weijia, I appreciate the questions. I know there's going to continue to be dozens more questions probably today, and I will...
Until you answer them.
To the White House counsel's office. That's one of the reasons my colleague was on the phone with many of you taking questions today, and I'm just going to leave it there. That is something for them to...
She's not even going to call on Jackie. Jackie's going to make her quit.
That you keep telling us, which is how much it is important to this White House to separate the White House from the DOJ's investigation. But the White House counsel was the one to go and facilitate the documents, to look for the documents.
Again, they have been working very closely with the Department of Justice. I would refer you to them. If you want to know specifically about their actions, specifically about what they're doing, I would point you to the White House counsel's office. Look, guys, you guys can ask me this 100 times, 200 times if you wish. I'm going to keep saying the same thing. I hear your question. It's been asked, it's been answered, it's been noted, and we're just going to try to move on here, and we're going to move on. We're going to move on. We're going to move on.
One more, because Ian did have that call today, and he said that the White House would, quote, fully cooperate with the investigation. Does that mean that President Biden is willing to be interviewed if called on?
I'm just not gonna, you're asking a question that should go to the White House counsel's office, as you just said.
What is she for then? What's the point of the press secretary if everyone needs to call the White House counsel?
Office should be answering anything specific to the DOJ or special counsel's, what they're...
She's just basically saying she's refusing to do her job today.
Are you upset that you came out to this podium on Friday with incomplete and inaccurate information? And are you concerned that it affects your credibility up here?
Well, what I'm concerned about is making sure that we do not politically interfere in the Department of Justice, that we continue to be consistent over the last...
Call her out.
And that is continue to refer you all when it comes to an ongoing process. And I'll just leave it there. And let's not forget, there was actually a statement from the counsel's office that you all had at the same time as well.
Shanti, break her. Make her cry.
Here, I'm going to be very consistent. I'm going to be very prudent. And again, I've been asked that question. I've answered it. It's been noted, the question, and we're just going to move on. Go ahead, JJ.
Thanks. So just to clarify on the debt ceiling again, so the White House has no intention of sitting down with Leader McCarthy on the debt ceiling in the coming month, or at all?
What we're saying here is that we've been very, very clear. I was clear at the top. I was clear when I was just asked this question. Congress is going to need to address the debt without conditions. And
we're going to cut a short out of that.
There should be no hostage taking here. There should be no attempts to exploit the debt ceiling or to leverage it. We're going to be very, very clear about that. And again, and I said this before, this was done 3 times under the last administration in a bipartisan way. This is the duty of Congress. This is something that is their basic duty, to deal with the debt ceiling. And so we're going to continue to be consistent here about that. And again, there should be
duty. What's up, Scott?
Political football.
So we can accurately report that the White House isn't doing any outreach to Republicans at this time?
Well, I said just moments ago, one of the things that we did, and I laid this out pretty clearly when the new Congress started, we reached out to Republicans and Democrats alike to talk about who their point of contact is, to have that conversation, to figure out how we're going to work together. And so there is constant conversations happening with members of Congress and their team. That is something that we are doing almost certainly on a weekly basis, and that always is going to happen. Those conversations are always going to happen. I'm certainly not going to read out every conversation that we're having with congressional members or congressional staff. What I am saying is that we have been very clear that this should be done. When we're talking about the debt ceiling, it should be done without conditions, and it should not be used as a political football.
Just wanted to go back to the bilat earlier and the one last week with the Prime Minister of Japan. These are 2 countries that are huge players in the semiconductor chain. Have you made any progress in getting those countries to join the efforts that the U.S. has started to restrict China's access to those semiconductors, to that technology?
So just want to be very clear on this as well. We don't push any of our allies or our partners. We consult with them closely, and they make their own decisions.
Dancing words. Thank you so much, Chris, for continuing the membership program on YouTube for 7 months. You're officially a hooligan. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Along with a host of other important regional and global issues. Look, this is going to be a continuing part of a group consultation here, and I don't have any announcements to make or anything further to share on this.
But does the president feel that the U.S. can be successful in preventing China from getting that technology if these types of countries like the Netherlands, like Japan, don't join, even if it's not exactly the same restrictions, but don't join in those types of efforts?
Again, we're just not going to push our partners and allies here. Again, the president, it did come up in their conversation. I'm just not going to getting into specific conversations or what happened. Or
why'd she start changing her voice like that? Like she was going to revert back into a ghoul.
On these types of things. Okay.
She sounded like the witch on the Wizard of Oz when she was melting.
Today,
Do we have a focus on either education? Are we looking at, I just wanted to soften the mood a little bit in the room. But is there anything that we're focusing on in terms of education, in terms of funding for new programs that we've come to the table to agree upon?
Well, thank you for your question. Look, the Department of Education, which is leading on that, on education and what we're doing to deliver for young people, certainly is a priority for this president and for the Department of Education. Don't have any specific programs or new programs to announce from here, but that is, making sure that young people have what they need to have a good, strong education, of course, is a priority for this president. Let's not forget, the First Lady is an educator herself, and she
and a caretaker,
and has done the work as well as First Lady.
She was doubling up her uhs. She was saying
Forward. Don't have anything specific to share, but
she's evolving like a Pokemon.
Our young people our millions and millions of young people across the country to make sure that they have, just and fair opportunities and that they should have. Go ahead. I'll come to you later.
Yeah, thanks, Green. So I want to ask you about trade. We're days away now from the president being 2 years in office, and there have been no completed trade deals. Why not?
So a couple of things here. So when the president was running, he made clear that we will invest in American workers and communities before pursuing new trade deals, and this is exactly what we've been doing. You've seen it for yourselves. You've heard the investments that have been made, especially as you think about manufacturing coming back to the U.S., and that is exactly what we're going to continue to do. So you've seen our economic agenda spur historic recovery and a manufacturing boom at home. More than 750,000 manufacturing jobs were created right here under this president. At the same time, we're working.
Most of the jobs added
Well,
back.
we go
$149,000.
we go back and forth on this, Ed. I hear you. I'm 750,000 jobs. Let me finish your answer. You asked me a question, but at the same time, we are working swiftly to finalize the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, which represent 40% of the world GDP, and will address the core issues that will define much of our success in the coming decades, like clean energy and the digital economy, while fortifying our economies against a range of threats from fragile supply chains to tax havens. We are committed in every region of the world to strengthen trade and investment in a manner that promotes good, paying American jobs, and also high standards and supply chain resiliency. And that has been the president's priority. At every step of the way, we will work with Congress to negotiate and develop trade policies that advance the interest of all Americans, support U.S. innovation and workers, and enhance our competitiveness. And that has been the president's priority. That is what he talked about during the campaign, and that's what he's been doing and delivering on for the past 2 years. Go around. Go ahead, April.
Corinne, two questions. You just, from the podium, in an answer to one of the reporters, you said something about you don't want to politically interfere when it comes to this investigation on the documents. I asked you when we first heard about the documents, there is a political component and a legal component. But can you expound upon what you don't want to interfere on politically? Because many pundits, many lawyers, many politicians are saying that this is also an issue that could prohibit a lot of work.
Sounds like it's really taken a lot out of her to ask this question.
In this moment. Could you expound on what you were talking about?
Well, look, I'm not going to get into politics from here. And I've been very clear.
From the White House podium, I mean, why would you?
Already. What I can say is that the president's going to stay laser focused on delivering for the American people. And that's going to continue to be the work that he sees at hand when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the bipartisan.
That's like the first question I ever heard her ask that wasn't about race.
Which we announced a couple of items last week on how important it's going to be for Medicare to negotiate. That is something that is going to be critical for the American families, for American people across the country, being able to negotiate the price of drugs and cap it at $2.
Bone Daddy. It's the compliance cloth. It's got her winded. Could be.
Do the work that he has been doing to lower costs. And we've seen that. We've seen that the president's economic plan is indeed working. And so, look, that is not going to stop us.
She's really running my time out. I think we're going to end up having to cover those 2 articles for tonight's watch party. I don't think we're going to be able to do it because I should have left 11 minutes ago, but we're not cutting things short yet.
Fashions is actually working. And so that's going to be our focus.
And in this moment, there are Democrats who are saying they're looking to tomorrow. It's a bright spot for Democrats with the inauguration of Wes Moore as Maryland's first black governor, as the 3rd black elected governor.
There's all the race stuff.
What does the president say, and what does this White House say about his elevation, a citizen who rose to the highest heights in the state of Maryland, especially as he campaigned for him?
Well, the president is very much looking forward to working with Governor Wes Moore. And, you saw the governor, I don't even know, is he a governor-elect yet, or has been a governor-elect? So I want to give him the right title here. And you saw Wes Moore, Governor-elect Wes Moore, and the president many times over the last several months. They developed a friendship. The president's very much looking forward to working with him. And we think it's important. It's important to have that representation. It's important to have someone as, someone who is qualified and passionate about the work as Wes Moore, be in a position where he can make a change and make a difference for Marylanders. And so that is critically important. Look, there is bright spots. There are, just if you look across the country, what we saw in state elections, and what we saw with governorships, what we saw in other really key important states, state offices, it was a bright spot. And let's not forget, one of the reasons that we saw that is because of the president's plan, the president's agenda, and what he was able to set forth for the midterms. Remember, everyone was talking about the red wave, and that didn't happen. And that didn't happen because of the president's leadership.
Corinne. Thank you, Corinne. Just want to ask you about something you said last week. Last week you were pretty insistent that you believe that the president's attorneys did the right thing. Do you still believe that?
Yes, they did the right thing when it comes to making sure that when the documents were found, they handed it over to the archivist, and it was handed over to Department of Justice. But again, Steve, I'm going to be very prudent here. I am going to be very consistent. It is an ongoing legal process. I'm not going to say more.
But the reason I ask is that what we now know, the president's counsel statement, the president's personal lawyer statement, shed a bit more light on this, but they raise more questions. Namely, the first call that the president's personal attorneys made on November 2nd was not to the FBI that they had found what we now know were top secret documents out in the open. The first call was to officials here at this White House in the West Wing. How is that the right thing? Isn't that the right thing when you see if you're a lawyer and you don't have a security clearance and you see a classified document, shouldn't you call the Justice Department's National Security Office right away?
Again, I'm going to refer you to the White House counsel's office. That is something for them to answer. That is a very specific question that they should answer, that they will engage with on this, just like my colleague did for almost an hour and had this conversation with all of you.
It was about a half hour, but let me widen out. Why is it the matter of this White House counsel to deal with documents from 2 administrations ago? We're not talking about presidential records from this White House. Why is this White House counsel involved in this matter at all?
Again, this is something for the White House counsel to address. I am not going to address that from here. I will refer you to them, and I will refer you to the special counsel and anything that is specific to this particular issue. We're being pulled. Folks have to gather. Okay, folks have.
Oh yeah, you can hear Jackie saying, "Corrine, call on Fox News." Nope.
I'll see you tomorrow. Come talk to me. I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, she thinks she's tough walking out. Sissy. All right, hooligans. Well, we're running short on time here. I didn't realize she was going to flap her lips that long. So we're going to be wrapping this up. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, but we're going to be going live again at 7 p.m. tonight for a watch party. We're going to be covering Old Man Walter. He's supposed to be speaking now, actually, with the basketball team and whatnot, welcoming them to the White House. But what we were not able to cover because of timing issues was talking about how YouTube is working on their swearing policy. They were trying to implement it to where you couldn't swear on YouTube without being penalized, and they're getting a lot of blowback and whatnot. So we're going to cover that. And then I want to say there's something else. Well, that might be it. So we'll do that, and we'll cover Old Man Walter welcoming the basketball team to the White House at 7 p.m. tonight Eastern time. Maybe I'll get a Twisted Tea or something. We'll make it fun. I don't know. It is what it is. But I appreciate you, hooligans. I'm going to give you a little spiel right here. Then we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance and wrap this up. So I would like everyone to go to JeffMacLive.com. You can also find the link in the description on any of the live platforms right now. On the home page, it has all of my links listed. You can find the link to join Gilded for free. Gilded is currently the best way to receive notifications for when and where we go live. No matter where we go live, you'll also receive notifications for important updates and things like that. On Gilded is a news board to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. There's also a ton of hooligans in there to hang out with all day, every day, to chat with about whatever you want. It doesn't have to be politics. It can be about your day. Also on the homepage of Jeff Mac Live, you can find links to the merch store if you would like to grab merch. We have shirts, hoodies, and stickers. Everything is presented and displayed in black and white, but comes in a lot of colors. So if you find something you like, click on it to see all the available colors of that item. You can also find links for PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Stripe, Zelle, and Buy Me a Coffee if you would like to support what I do. There is a link to the Amazon wish list if you would like to send me stuff. It's easy to use. Anything you purchase directly from the wish list will be sent straight to me. You don't need to seek out address information or anything like that. And then finally, near the bottom of the homepage, you will find links to the membership programs. There's memberships available for YouTube, Gilded, Discord, Odyssey, Rumble, and Twitch. Also, the profiles are available if you would like to sign up and have your own account there on JeffMacLive.com. That stuff is available. I mean, this isn't the official launch or anything, but if you would like to get in there early and be a part of everything as it develops, it is available. You can check out the memberships and all that just by going to JeffMacLive.com. All right, hooligans, let's get ready for the pledge. All right, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, hooligans, well, that's that for now. I will see you at 7 p.m. Eastern time for a watch party. We're going to watch Old Man Walter, and we're going to talk about new YouTube policies and whatnot. Hope to see all of you there. Big shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership program, or purchased any merch. I appreciate all of you, and I would not be able to do this without you. So thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.